Alright, hey everybody, I know it's been a while since I've done an update, but I've actually been doing a lot of repairs, buying up some broken items and stuff, and working on fixing them, and doing some mod jobs on the side. But anyway, I figured maybe somebody would be interested in some of the stuff I've been working on as far as doing repairs. So, I bought two quote-unquote untested Sega Master Systems off of eBay. And first of all, I'm going to have to call shenanigans on them being untested, as both of them were completely broken. I mean, as far as functionality. The one I tried turning on, it had no video signal, and I touched up all the solder points and everything on it, and the board was really rusted. It's hard to tell what component's actually wrong with it. I'm probably just going to use it for parts. However, this one wouldn't turn on at all, and I was actually kind of happy about that, because whenever a system doesn't turn on at all, it's usually a power issue, or it's definitely a power issue. So that's actually easier to fix than no video, or at least in what I've been testing with stuff. So anyway, yeah, so this is the one that wouldn't power on at all. And the first thing I did, of course, I usually like to clean up the board, just make sure no connections are bridged or whatever. Okay, of course, didn't work after that, which, no surprise. So anyway, you'll already notice that I've got the heat shield off the 7805, and we'll get to that in a second. Okay, so the first thing I like to do whenever testing something that doesn't have power is to look for the fuse. Your fuses, if you don't know what to look for on a board, they'll always have an F by them. If you can see that on the board, maybe. Yeah, so anyway, first thing I do is I take out my multimeter here, and this is going to be kind of hard to do, but we'll see if we can get to it. So I like to take my multimeter out and just make sure that that's getting continuity. Man, I don't know if I can do this on one hand, but anyway, well, let's see if we can do something here. So anyway, yeah, so we're going to check that for continuity, and it beeps. So I knew the fuse was good. So knowing that the fuse was good, I had to go what came before the fuse, power-wise. Okay, so when we do that, another huge culprit on a lot of these systems, well, not a lot of these systems, but your older cartridge-based systems stuff, is the 7805 being faulty. A lot of times, and I'm actually guilty of this, I did it on an accident one time. I was working on a Famicom, and I accidentally plugged in a US Nintendo power supply, which is AC voltage instead of the DC voltage that it needs. Well, AC will blow out a 7805 in a matter of like 2 seconds. So anyway, that's probably what happened here, since the Master System uses the same barrel as the Nintendo. I'm sure somebody tried firing this up with a Nintendo power supply, which is AC, and blew the 7805. And the reason I think it's a Nintendo AC adapter that they use is simply because, well, one, everybody had a Nintendo, so they're probably all laying around, and two, even if they used a higher voltage or a higher amperage DC adapter, the chances are the 7805 probably would still be okay. They're usually pretty stout. They can usually take a lot of abuse, unless of course it's getting AC instead of DC. So anyway, I checked my what I was getting as far as the output voltage on it, and you'll notice on your 7805s or on the motherboard, and a lot of your motherboards are this way. So anyway, you got your input. I believe that's C for collector pin, perhaps, and then O for output. So your input is your electricity that's coming into it. C Like I said, I think that's collector, so that just it's ground. That's all you need to know, is your center pin is always ground on your 7805. And the right pin, which is O, is output. And since it's a 7805, your output will always be 5 volts. So, anyway, I flipped it over. This is back when the shield was still on it. I flipped it over and tested what kind of output it was getting. And it was getting nothing. It was getting the input, and it was getting no output. So I instantly knew it was a 7805. So anyway, desoldered it. As you can tell, this one's really high up. I need to solder it down, but anyway, I soldered a new one in, which 7805s you can pick up. I don't know. You can. I think I bought 10 of them for maybe like $3 or $4. They're cheap to get a hold of. So anyway, turn it on, and it works. So yeah. Anyway. Just something to keep in mind if you get an old console that doesn't power on. There's a good chance that it might just be the 7805 or a fuse. Definitely the first two things you should check whenever you get a system that isn't turning on at all. Another big thing to test for, if you're not getting power, is to make sure that your solder joints, where your power plug goes in, are not loose. That will also cause it to not power on. Sometimes with the plug getting pulled in and out, that will actually loosen those up, and then those solder joints need to just be reflowed. Once they're reflowed, it'll work fine. But anyway, yeah, so one good system out of 2. I'll take that, I guess. I think I only paid like $20 for the lot of 2 of them, so I'm not too upset about it. It does kind of make me mad that the guy listed them as untested, because the chances of 2 Master Systems being completely faulty, I mean, as far as not showing anything up, is next to impossible. And not only that, I noticed that they did get into the system at one point, because on these Master Systems, the cartridge slot gets these 2 black screws. These are the only 2 black screws that it gets, and they go on the cartridge slot. Well, somebody was into this because they use these on the RF shield, and so yeah, definitely they definitely been tested, and they definitely been tried to been repaired, but obviously somebody didn't know what they were looking at. So anyway, all right, well, just wanted to give you guys a heads up on what I've been working on, and maybe this will be useful to somebody. But I'll talk to you guys later.